Hi everyone, this is Jovi. We are just waiting for the team to join. Just one moment. Okay. We have the CEO of SquidGrow here to introduce the project to us. Can you briefly introduce yourself, please?
Hey guys, yeah, it's Ardub here on the main SquidGrow account. Can you just bring Shibtoshi up as a speaker as well? I can see him up at the top here as well.
Hey,
Yep,
how's it going, everybody? Sorry, I got booted from a speaker for some reason.
that's okay.
There
That's
we
okay.
there we go.
How's it going? Happy to be here. I'm Shibtoshi. I'm up here with my COO, R-Dub, also Slumdog Millionaires up here with us. And we've got a lot of our community in here as well. Happy to be here and discuss a little bit about our project.
That's good to hear. Just give us a brief introduction about you guys and about SquidGrow.
Okay, perfect. So as I said, I'm Shibtoshi. I am the co-founder of SquidGrow. We launched in June of 2022
Mm-hmm.
on the BSC Smart Chain. We are a self-launch project. Um, our all-time high was 2,000 X's for 52 million market cap. I believe our initial market cap was about $30,000. Um, Currently, we have branched over to Ethereum
Mm-hmm.
as of about a month and a half ago. We did an initial ILO for ETH where we raised 540 Ethereum, a little over $1 million to go to the liquidity, 100% of which went to liquidity. We are a meme utility project that is currently in the building stages. We have partnerships with Mike S. Miller from DC Comics, Marvel, Game of Thrones, doing our NFT collection. Um, yeah, Dub, you want to chime in and kind of add to it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess Shib covered some of the things that we've been focusing on. I guess yeah, our first year on the BSC was we came out of the gates pretty hard on BSC, and as Shib said, we did do a crazy amount of X's going up to our all-time high. And then kind of after we hit our all-time highs when we started our development phase. And since then, really like the major things that we have both spoken on and have been working on in the background are not just the NFT collection with Mike Miller, but we also have an NFT marketplace that will be coming out at the collection and the marketplace kind of go hand in hand, and they'll be released together. So the marketplace is kind of towards the end of its development stage at the moment. After development is finished, it will go through an auditing stage before being released. But we're really excited about that one as we believe that the NFT marketplace that we're coming out with, um, we hope for it to fill a few gaps in the market there. Anyway, there's going to be a few features that I won't go into too much detail on, but just some things that other NFT marketplaces don't really offer. Outside of that, we also have spoken on, and it's going to be our flagship utility is SGX, which is a decentralized perpetual swap. So in essence, it's similar to something like DYDX or GMX or Apex or any of those like perpetual decentralized perpetual exchanges. So at the moment we have SGX under development, and it's a big task. We haven't given any dates as to when this will be completed, but it's certainly it's our biggest undertaking at the moment. And we really kind of that's where we're putting a lot of our focus at the moment. Outside of, did you want to go, Shib?
Yeah, I was going to just have you point out the benefit to the community as far as SPX goes.
So yeah, SGX, obviously, all of our utilities that we have, we hope for them to, I guess, give back to not just the SquidGrow community, but the SquidGrow token as a whole. And one of the features of SGX is like the fees that are collected on SGX. A percentage of those fees is going to go back into buybacks on the chart and liquidity. I might just get you to take over from there, Shib. I've got my daughter calling out.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, so as Dub was saying, we always, every move that we make within the project, we put our community to the forefront of our decision making. And when we decided to do this undertaking back in June of 22 or 2022 to take on the perpetual, we were trying to think of ways that we could incorporate SquidGrow token and our community into that. So it's not just a standalone utility, essentially no benefit to the existing community. So how we've decided to do that is 25% of all revenue generated on the perpetual exchange will go into our charts. Currently, as I said, we're on BSC and Ethereum. So I'll give a quick breakdown, just simple mathematics on it. Let's say that we generate 100 BNB profit over the course of a week. 50 BNB will go into the chart as a buy. The tokens that are then accumulated from that buy are then paired to the remaining 50 BNB to make an LP pair. So what we are doing is we are pumping our chart and we are stiffening our liquidity at the same time. Everything that we do within the project, we have an emphasis on our liquidity. We are a tax token. We have a 4% buy tax, 10% sell tax, 10% transfer tax. 100% of those taxes goes to our liquidity. In addition, we also offer staking for native coin and also LP staking. Currently, we just recently dropped our APRs down to 10%. We've had extremely high APRs for the better half of a year. Debuting Ethereum, we ran 100% APR for the first 30 days, where we gave away about $700,000. 6 months prior to that, we gave out about $1.8 million. But to interact with their staking contracts, there's a 2% deposit tax, 2% withdrawal tax. And when you're harvesting your rewards, there's a 6% tax on that. All of those fees go back into the staking contract to help it remain sustainable. So our emphasis has always been on liquidity building and sustainability. For the better half of the first year of our life, like I said, we ran extremely high APRs, which obviously aren't sustainable, running 50 to 100% APRs. At some points, they were much higher than that. But now we're kind of shifting gears. We're in this for the long term, and we want sustainability.
Okay. And what actually inspires you to create the project?
So the story of SquidGrow, how the conception, and to get into a little bit about my background, which I didn't get into. I've been in the crypto space since 2011. My first investment was Bitcoin. It was introduced to me for playing poker online. So I'm somewhat an early adopter when it comes to crypto. My friends were a little more later getting into the game. And through the course of time of me making my investments, one of my most notable that I'm most known for is my Shiba Inu investment, where on day one, I invested 37 ETH into SHIB and rode that up in one wallet to $5.7 billion. So I'm that guy.
Wow.
So right shortly thereafter, when my lifestyle dramatically changed, my friends started taking interest into crypto. And, some of them are maybe too prideful to, inquire and kind of ask questions. So they tried to learn on their own. And a lot of the times they found themselves investing into projects that either
Yep.
rugged or were honeypots, and it was just bad investments. My friends were losing money left and right. One of my closest friends started talking to me about launching my own project. Originally, I had no desire to do so. This is about 2021. And then as he persisted, I started playing around with the idea a little bit. I took some classes on coding, was never a successful coder myself. And when I decided to ultimately pull the trigger, I outsourced to a dev to build my contract. And how we came up with the name is, at the time, the Squid Games TV show on Netflix was really popular. And I was also a big investor into Evergrow token, and it was really popular at the time as
Mhm.
well. So I took the two names and I put them together, SquidGrow. As I said, I'm not a developer, so I struggled trying to figure out how to deploy the contracts. And about the time that I realized how to go about that, I realized there was another token out there called Squid Games. I'm sure we're all familiar with what happened with that. It made massive ripples in the space, but ultimately they ended up rugging. So I ended up shelving the idea and kind of went about my life. A couple months down the road, I met my COO in a whale room, and we ended up joining a side whale room from that group where we just started talking a little more openly about crypto. And during this course of time, I got to know Dub fairly well, and we started talking about the issues that are in this current space that we're in. And with the outside pressure from my friends, you know, trying to convince me to launch my own project, I happened to throw it out there to Dub. And one way or another, we decided that we were going to do our own project. So I was kind of going through the different names that we had and the different contracts that I had already had created previously. And ultimately, we decided to go with SquidGrow. So we launched SquidGrow with the mindset to give my friends' family a safe place to invest their money. And obviously, now that's expanded to our community as well. So what we offer is a safe place to invest your money. We are a highly audited company. We have 7 CerTech audits currently. We're rated top 10% of CerTech. We are a registered company out of St. Vincent's and the Grenadines with an LLC. So we are doing everything by the book, and we're putting our investors to the forefront of all the decision makings that we do. Another thing that's unique about us is, as I said previously, all of our taxes goes to liquidity. So if you're asking where's the money come from to develop the project, market the project, list on all the exchanges that we're listed on, I pay for it out of pocket. So everything that we've ever done, I paid for out of pocket. So that's another unique thing about us. We do not depend on volume on the chart to generate marketing funds. So we operate with a marketing budget, which I fund, and that's how we move through this space. And as I said, we're in our building phases right now with some pretty big undertakings going on that we're really excited for.
Yeah, wishing you all the best on those improvements that you are doing right now. So, by the way, can you tell us more about the SquidGrow absorption machine, or SAM?
Yeah, sure. So SAM is our SquidGrow absorption machine. So essentially, how SAM works is either with us directly reaching out to a project or a project reaching out to us. We start talking to the devs, and we look for a couple of things when we're looking at SAMs. We are looking for a contract that is not renounced and a liquidity that is not burned. So after we establish that, and we have a loose agreement with the owners of the project, we run analytics on their chart, factoring into the liquidity that they have and the token distribution of their holders. And after the analytics report is done, we can determine, the percentage of value retention that the community is going to retain. We have done one successful SAM acquisition with Versa Finance, and the community came out great in that. I think they were like 80 or 90% value retention. A lot of the times when we were looking to absorb projects, one of the things we're running into is, great market caps, very poor liquidity. So as an example, if your top whale holds all of the liquidity in a project, we obviously can't make everybody whole with 1-to-1 ratio, 100% value. By doing so, it would essentially just be funding one wallet. So we have to take that liquidity and determine the amount of tokens of our project that liquidity is going to purchase, and that those tokens are then distributed to the community. So how it essentially works is, assuming everything is agreeable, and we think that the community that we're looking to absorb is going to be fairly content with the value retention, we will have the other project remove their liquidity, do a purchase on our chart. We will run analytics again, factoring into the tokens, factoring in the tokens that were purchased. And then we do a final analytics report. Those tokens are then transferred to me and airdropped to all of their addresses of their community. And now they become SquidGrow. Another unique thing with our Ethereum contract is we have built in our SAM, in our contract, we have built in the SAM absorption into our contract. So we can very easily absorb liquidity and or tokens to distribute to the community. So we have not yet used it. The way that we absorbed Versa was just a simple buy on the chart. But with our Ethereum SAM contract, we can essentially just directly inject the liquidity into our own liquidity through our contract. And the tokens that we are then retained, when obviously liquidity is made up of two pairs. It's in Ethereum's case, it's Ethereum and SquidGrow token. So when you inject onto one side of that, on the with Ethereum, it changes the ratio of tokens, and we are able, if we choose to do so, if we choose to go this route, we are able to withdraw tokens from our liquidity lock to get our ratios back into where they need to be and distribute those tokens. Or we can just take the liquidity simply and do a buy on the chart. The tokens that are accumulated, we can then distribute those. So those are the two options that we have for absorbing contracts. Now, just to be clear, we cannot move liquidity. We cannot remove liquidity through our contract. We can only remove the tokens, not Ethereum directly.
Okay, that's a good thing. And how does the BSC to ETH bridge function in your ecosystem?
Okay, so currently, our bridge, we have shut our bridge down currently. With all the bridge attacks that were going on in the space, with any swap being targeted and millions of dollars being pulled out of that bridge for safety precautions, we shut down our bridge, and I blacklisted our bridge addresses. So currently, our bridge is not usable. We are doing more security checks on our bridge. Obviously, our bridge has been audited, but with all the attacks that recently came up on bridges, I don't want to take any risks of tokens being extracted from the bridge and dumped on the chart. So for precautions reasons, currently our bridge is not functional.
Got it. I understand. Now, can you explain more about the SquidGrow perpetual or future exchange?
Yeah. To what extent do you want to know about SGX?
We want to know how it functioned, how it started, how you come up with the feature.
Okay. Well, we started building SGX in the early days of June 2022. Our first version of SGX was put into audit several months after we had launched, but during the audit, we realized that we could do some things better, so we pulled it and continued to develop it. But essentially, SGX is just a perpetual exchange. It's very similar to, as Dub said, GMX, or trading features on any exchange. Essentially, you have your margin and your leverage. You take out a position against a crypto, betting that it's either going to go up or down. So you provide your margin, you pick your leverage. So essentially, if you decide to, use margin of $1,000 and you do a 50x leverage, your trading power is essentially $50,000. And if the chart goes in the direction that you are betting that it goes, you reap those rewards of that. But in the same note, if it goes the opposite direction, you run the risk of losing your funds. It's perpetual trading. Dub's actually pretty big deal when it comes to perpetual. So on this note, I'll pass it back to Dub and let him go into the details a little further.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it pretty well earlier in terms of like how SGX will actually like differ from other like bigger current perpetual exchanges in terms of like how we'll actually be giving back to SquidGrow the token and the community. Like and just to like recap on that, like obviously as part of the fees that are generated on SGX, a portion of that is going to go back into building liquidity in SquidGrow itself. But yeah, I mean, you covered it pretty well, Shib. For those who are not familiar with perpetuals or like futures trading, I mean, there are a number of like pretty much all centralized exchanges out there have options for futures trading and perpetuals and options and margin trading and all that type of stuff. It is quite complex when you first get into it, but definitely after you've kind of had a crack at it yourself, it becomes pretty easy learning. It can be quite risky for people that don't know trading themselves. So it's not advised to just like, if you've never traded before, to just jump straight into futures on high leverage. You'll probably get wrecked. But yeah, I mean, we always recommend that people use like, start low and go slow. So like start off with smaller margin and smaller leverage, and get a feel of what's happening before you kind of like up things a little bit. But I guess the difference with decentralized perpetual exchanges is that there is at no point will SGX actually be holding users' funds. So when you trade on something like, Binance or Bybit or whatever it is, you actually like transfer funds into the exchange onto your account, and then you essentially trade with those funds, but the funds are being held by the exchange. So at any stage, if anything was to happen with that exchange, essentially like, anything could happen to your funds. But the difference with decentralized exchanges is that you basically connect to your DeFi wallet, which would be like a MetaMask or a Trust wallet or whatever it is. So you're kind of holding your funds in your wallet, and you just sign a transaction to connect to the perpetual exchange, and then you're able to trade on the exchange with the amount of funds that you approve for the exchange to interact with. So I guess that's the difference with centralized and decentralized, and obviously SGX is going to be a decentralized perpetual swap.
All right. So anything that we can expect from the NFT marketplace and minting platform?
So when it comes to our NFT marketplace, there's something cool that we have done with Mike Miller's collection. So within our 10,000 piece NFT collection, we have 100 ultra rares. And several months back, I went out and purchased around $300,000 in blue chip NFTs, such as Mutant Apes, Doodles, Kennel Clubs, Metaverse Land, to just name a few. And we have incorporated those with our NFT collection, very similar to what my PFP looks like here on Twitter. Our ultra rare NFTs are depicted with our NFT holding a Polaroid picture of a blue chip NFT. And if you mint an ultra rare NFT, you gain ownership of both NFTs. Obviously, the blue chip NFT is redeemable, so you will have to either contact us or we will do an airdrop after we realize that a certain wallet holds that NFT. But as long as you are in possession of the ultra rare NFT, you gain ownership of the blue chip NFT as well. So you're essentially getting 2 for 1. At the time of purchase, obviously the market's down, but at the time of purchase, the highest valued NFT that I purchased was about $27,000. They were the Mutant Apes that I bought, followed by the Kennel Clubs and the Doodles. But when the market goes back up, I do see great value there. And, if you decide to mint our NFTs because you like Mike Miller's work and you like what they have to offer as far as the utilities go, which we'll get into in a second, you do have the chance to also become the owner of a blue chip NFT. Now, some of the utilities that we are offering with our NFTs, obviously, we will be incorporating the NFTs into our perpetual exchange. So you will be able to, if you hold one of our NFTs, you will get a reduced trading fee from the address that holds the NFT. So this can save you money if you're into trading futures. Additionally to that, you will be able to stake your NFT in our staking contract to earn boost APRs when we pay out in SquidGrow token. So, currently we offer 10% APR, which is not bad for this market. There is no locking periods. You can withdraw it at any point. There's just the taxes that we spoke on previously. But if you decide that you want to boost those APRs and you're an NFT owner, you can stake those into the contract and earn additional APRs. Now, we have not finalized the APR numbers yet, so I won't get into too much detail on that, but you will be able to stake up to 5 of our NFTs in our contract. It's capped at 5.
Okay. And now, how does SquidGrow prioritize user needs, ideas, and feedback in its community-driven approach?
So we're pretty open to suggestions and
Mm.
ideas. There's been numerous times when we've been in the process of developing something like our staking contracts for an example or our bridge for another that we take feedback, and if we feel like it is a positive change, we will implement that. Um, an example with our staking contracts, the first version of the staking contracts that did not go live, you were not going to have the ability to harvest your rewards. You would have to unstake your whole bag to claim those rewards and then restake it. After we revealed that to the community, we got feedback in the community wanting the ability to harvest the rewards. So we built new contracts, had those audited with Certec, and implemented those. When we were going through the stages of building the bridge, the community wanted the ability to pre-select the amount of tokens or the percentage of tokens that they could bridge 25, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. Originally, we just had a button for, I believe, 100%. And so based on the feedback from that, we took that. We saw that it would be beneficial to the community to have that option, so we implemented that. So our DMs are always open. We're extremely accessible. And, we're more than happy to hear out any suggestions. But currently, majority of the decision making is done within the core team, but we are open to suggestions at all times.
Okay. And yeah, how does the staking system work in ecosystem of SquidGrow?
Well, our staking system is just, it's essentially a staking contract. So you take your SquidGrow token, you stake it in the contract, and you earn an APR. As a result of that, you have the ability to harvest those rewards. The staking contract is something I believe we rolled out within week 1 of going live, followed with the liquidity staking. And it gives the community an incentive to, earn additional SquidGrow tokens while we are continuing to develop our utilities. So you're not just sitting around waiting for news. You have something to look forward to on a daily basis as far as earning rewards. So it's just a way that we are able to give back to the community for being patient with us while we are developing. Obviously, developing things from scratch definitely takes time. So, it's something that we added into our ecosystem, to, show the community that we're thinking about them and, helping them accumulate a bigger position in our project.
All right, that's a good thing. Now, can you tell us more about the team behind SquidGrow? What are the background and experiences in the blockchain industry aside from you, Shibtoshi, because you already explained to us that you have been an early adapter.
Okay, well, then I'll let Dub go ahead and step up. Unfortunately,
Sure.
our CMO is not
That's okay.
here
Mhm.
today, but we'll pass it off to Dub.
Yeah, so look, obviously my name is Adab. I have been involved in crypto since around 2011 originally, when I was first introduced to Bitcoin by a friend. In the years following that, I kind of, traded like, I guess what you would call like top 200 coins on and off, and I was kind of like in and out of being interested in crypto. But always kind of, yeah, always had that like, thing in the back of my mind that I really loved it. And then it wasn't until about 2021, I think it was, when I got introduced to DeFi and originally came in as an investor and bought a token. I think it was on the BSC at the time. And basically, yeah, coming into that space of like, I guess, what is often referred to as like shit coins. Yeah, it was just a whole other world that I had never experienced before. And obviously, I went through the whole roller coaster that everyone goes through, and I got rugged and all the rest of it. But yeah, I really enjoyed making connections with people in the space, and I guess that's how one thing really led to another. And in the end, like Satoshi and I ended up meeting each other, and and starting SquidGrow. But so I came into the space as an investor. I was then working for a channel, kind of like calling promising projects, and then went on to meet Shibtoshi and started SquidGrow with Shib. And nowadays also just spend a lot of my time day trading futures and like helping people to understand the futures market and technical analysis and stuff like that. That's kind of me. I can try and give a little bit of a rundown on Dane, our CMO as well, and just like jump in Shib, because
I
yeah, I'm
would
not
just
a.
I would just pull the information off the main website and read it verbatim, as
Oh,
far as what he's
okay.
drafted.
Okay, let me have a look.
Okay. Yeah, so the question that I have for you again is, how does the leadership team of SquidGrow contribute to the project success? Like, what are, I know your roles, but can you be more specific on how it started, how it grew because of the leadership and all those stuff?
Well, we touched on how we started and why we started. One of the things that we contribute, or I personally contribute, is decision making and funding and direction of the project. Obviously, my core team helps with decisions and the directions that we decide to go, and different utilities that we decide to build. But from my end, I bring funding to the table. I bring knowledge to the table, and I bring direction.
Yeah, and
And go
I
ahead, Deb.
think one of the biggest things as well that like people, I mean, everyone knows it's there, but people don't necessarily like point it out and talk about it a lot of the time is that like, one of the things that SquidGrow has that like basically no other project that I'm aware of has is that we have this story, which is like the story associated with Shibtoshi, which is like this guy that invested $8,000 into Shiba Inu, and at the top it was worth $5.7 billion and all the rest of it. And there's this kind of like this law around that you don't really find in other projects. And I know lots of people who come into the projects for the very first time and they hear that. And I would probably be the same if I didn't actually know Shib in real life. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. That's not true. Like, that's crazy. Like, because it's unbelievable, right? Like, I mean, like, it's a pretty crazy story. But yeah, that is one of the big things that I think that not just Shibtoshi has, but it's one of the big things that kind of adds to what SquidGrow really is. It's this element that SquidGrow has that other tokens don't have.
Okay, so I don't have any more questions for you guys. So I would ask our audiences if they want to ask anything. You can request if you have any question for SquidGrow.
Well, before we get into that, I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
bring Slumdog up. He's up here as a speaker,
Okay.
and I'll allow him to give the introduction and how he was, exposed to us, and go from
Yeah,
there. Slum.
Sure.
yeah. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
Hey, what's up? Yeah. So I'm not part of the core team. That's why I couldn't really chime in or answer any of those technical questions. But yeah, I got introduced to Squid Grow a little while back. Shout out to Bad Anthony, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He that's the homie right there. He's in the audience too. But yeah, I just kind of met up with them in real life, Shibtoshi, and everybody, and just kind of like sat down and just kind of talked about the project, everything. And it just, I don't know, it made a lot of sense to me. We kind of cut from the same cloth, you know what I mean? Basically the same, not nowhere near the same amount of gains that Shibtoshi had, but Shibtoshi basically what he did with the 8,000, turning it into 5.6, $5.7 billion. I kind of did something similar with Dogecoin where I put in my life savings. I put in $180,000 into Dogecoin, and at the top I had about $3 million in Dogecoin. And so the funny thing is, I had read about him long before I met him. and I thought it was really, really interesting. I thought it was a dope ass story. I saw publications, headlines, YouTube videos about him and stuff. So when I met him, I was like, wow, this is like, we're cut from the same cloth kind of people. You know what I mean? Like, we're both diamond handers. You know what I mean? He's got all his SHIB. I got all my Dogecoin still, and we just kind of see eye to eye on a lot of things. So it kind of made sense. And the more we talked over the weeks, the more it made sense for a partnership and a collaboration, and which we ended up doing. And now I'm like, my job is just basically spreading awareness, to the project, however I can. I help with the marketing side, YouTube videos, all over Twitter, Spaces, any kind of thing that I can do, pretty much. And my biggest thing when it comes to investing, because I'm also invested in the project, is basically how dedicated is the team behind that project, right? How solid is that team? I feel like that's number one for me. Even before we talk about technicals, even before we talk about um, all the other aspects of a project, is how trustworthy is that team, right? And and like, this is the best in the space, I could say, because like I said, it's easy for me to say that because I actually know these guys in real life. You know what I mean? And I'm sure it's harder for other people, not knowing exactly who's behind a team. And in those instances, it's more of a show and prove kind of thing, which is what they've done also. You know what I mean? They've also done that over the past year on the Binance Smart Chain. So now moving over to Ethereum, they kind of have a proven track record of always being there for the community, always being there for the supporters, and keeping them first every single time they make decisions. You know what I mean? Getting feedback in real time from the community. And so everything about this project, all the aspects about this project made sense to me. And just, it's just a solid team. And so I figured, you know what, this is definitely one of those projects that I would love to hold long term. I feel like, I'm super bullish on it. I feel like next bull run, they're going to see all time highs and surpass all time highs. And yeah, just a super big fan. And yeah, I'm just here to help wherever I can.
All right, thank you, Slumdog. So yeah, anyone else that would want to speak out and ask questions to SquidGrow or share your insights about SquidGrow? Okay, we have one that requested. Right, just one moment. Still waiting for him to connect. Hi, the art. Yeah, can you hear us? All right.
And the crew, actually. I mean, just wanted to say huge appreciation for everything that you're doing in the space. I think it's an incredible story that you've had to tell there, Shibtoshi. I don't know how you guys identify these things so early. I'm very late into the game myself. I'm only a year into it, but my question was, for someone not in that sort of realms of where you guys are. I know everyone starts from uh, a position, a low position at first. But my question is, what sort of other than holding long term, which I'm a very good diamond handler, which I look sort of long term to the future with regards to projects that I'm invested in. And I think finding a team such as yourselves that are strong enough, resilient enough to stand behind the project, and a community that are on the same page speaks volumes for any project. But I'm querying, for someone not in those sort of positions as yet, other than accumulating over time, how would you advise to best position yourself to take full advantage of the run coming up? Because my intention is, as I say, to accumulate over time, a lengthier time.
Well, I've been very vocal about this. I think the majority of the money that is going to be made in the next run is being accumulated right now. I myself am accumulating right now.
Mhm.
So I think, to best utilize and take advantage of where we are currently in the market, it's dollar cost averaging, as you said you were doing.
Yeah.
Um, who cares if you just bought Bitcoin at $30,000 or you bought it at $14,000? It doesn't matter kind of where you got into it. Where it's predicted to go as far as direction, this next run, it's going to be pretty substantial. I myself can see Bitcoin going over $100,000. So I would best advise somebody that, you know, doesn't have like a lot of money to play with in one go, and you know, just dollar cost average into projects that you truly believe in. That's
Hmm.
the smartest way to do it, because you're bringing your dollar average down when you
Right.
join. So you bought at the top, okay, that sucks. If you don't buy and you don't dollar cost average, then that is your average. But if you start buying on the way down, the way back up, you are bringing that investment average down. And then when the
Right.
market turns around, you know, it's not really going to matter at what point in time you invested into it. I've been accumulating Bitcoin since 2011. Actually, my first Bitcoin purchase was $30,000, and I lost that the following day on the poker tables online. But I've been a true believer in Bitcoin from since essentially since it was introduced to me. Um, but you know, I truly believe in dollar cost averaging. I truly believe that this market right now and what you are buying will change majority of everybody's life in the next run. With that said, obviously, it's very dependent on the project that you are investing in. You know, if you get into, you know, one of these 2.0 coins or something like that, you know, high risk, high reward, right? But there's no
Right.
guarantees there. There's no guarantees at all in this space. But you know, if I had to advise anybody, like I advise my friends, just dollar cost average. I think that's the best way to utilize and take advantage of the market that we are currently in.
Right, right. That's exactly what I'm sort of understanding in my limited time into the space. I think the lowest point that you can get into something and be able to hold firm over time can only lead to those advantages. You know, understanding that the history of the chart shows you movement to dips and wanes in it. I think to me it makes perfect sense to dollar cost average and get in at lower points whenever you're in a position to do so. But I thank you very much for the advice. I kind of try to explain or spread that same sentiment to communities that you're in. And I think any project that anybody's invested into, firstly, they must have had an interest to be invested in it in the first place. But you know, look long term and be part of that community as well, because a community with strength behind it, all on the same page, understanding what's needed, what's necessary for themselves and for the strength of the project, can only lead to greater things in the future.
I agree with that 100%. And I just realized I recognize your voice. I've spoken to you previously and had some great conversation with you, I believe, in our Telegram group, correct?
Yes, we have at one stage.
Yep.
I jump
Yep.
in and out of lots of things, so excuse. I can't retain all the people I speak to, but I certainly remember your name.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean that is what I would suggest, dollar cost averaging. Uh, you know, and I always suggest never invest more into anything if you
Hmm.
can't afford to do so. You know,
Right.
don't take your rent money and gamble with it, expecting to double or triple that the following month.
No,
There
definitely
are
not.
there are times where, you know, you can
Yeah.
definitely achieve that, but it's very risky to do so. So you know, we are a slow and steady growth project. You know, we were slowly and steadily growing our holder count and our liquidity to market cap ratios. Currently, Ethereum is around 7% liquidity to market cap ratio. And that is something that is so negligently overlooked in this space. Everybody focuses on market cap. Well, let me tell you, you know, I'm invested into SHIB and have been, and I had billions of dollars in SHIB. Could I have pulled that if I wanted to, if I had a desire to do so? Absolutely not. I would have never been able to clear $5 billion out of SHIB. And if I even tried, it would decimate the chart. So, you know, the emphasis being on liquidity building in the project gives the ability for our community to exit their position or pull profit if and when they decide to do so. And we encourage profit taking. We don't expect our community to just never sell. We encourage it, but do it responsibly. Think about the other people, think about the community, think about, you know, your first time when you invested into a project and then somebody dumps on your buy and now you're upside down. Remember that feeling, you know, and when you decide to pull profits, you know, pull it slowly. If you decide to exit, unless it's like a family emergency or something major like that, try to do it respectfully. Um, you know, I mean, everybody's been in a situation where they've been dumped on. You know, it's not a great feeling. So we are have a strong emphasis on liquidity. That's why everything goes into our liquidity, and it's there when somebody wants to pull profits or exit. But that's just kind of my advice as far as the dollar cost averaging and the market sentiment as of now. I mean, Dub, you have anything to contribute to that?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much good advice. And I just think that, these times right now are really like the start of the end times, really, of like accumulation, because when it happens, things are going to go up pretty quickly. And, I think with Bitcoin, obviously the bottom is in. There are going to be this whole new wave of altcoins that come through with this next cycle. So like all the altcoins that had crazy runs on the last cycle may not be the ones that go and do that again this time around. It may be a whole new wave of altcoins. So like personally, like I in terms of like long-term holding and investments, like I tend to stick with the ones that are well known, like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then like kind of if you can pick like one or two like new tokens that start to come out on the market, then they might be the ones that have a good run in this next cycle as well. But yeah, those are my thoughts anyway.
Well, I really appreciate the advice, gentlemen.
Thanks for coming up, buddy.
All right.
Definitely, 100%.
Thank you so much. So, anyone else who would want to ask questions? Not seeing anyone trying to join or to be one of our speakers, but yeah, we're almost done, and actually, we're done. I just want to thank everyone who joined our Twitter space today. Any other words that you would want to say to our listeners? Shibtoshi.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you just said. What was that?
Yeah. Any last words for our audiences?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to
Mhm.
jump on this space and listen to us talk about SquidGrow and our community. Big shout out to our community. We also have great emphasis on community building.
Yeah.
Obviously, without a strong foundation within our community, we wouldn't have such a strong project. And we are continuing to grow not only the community but also the project. So thank you for your patience, thank you for your trust, and thank you for those that are along this ride with us. And everybody that is not in my community, I encourage you to jump in there and learn a little bit about us. You don't have to invest if you don't want, but it's a good place to hang out and accumulate knowledge. We do a lot of ECs, a lot of conversation in there. Dub gets on there and starts talking about charts and TA. So there's a lot of knowledge in our chat, and our community is a great community. We're very welcoming. So if nothing else, it's a great place to kill some time.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for joining. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.